Okay, so this data comes from our annual survey of insurers on the factors that shape their IT investment priorities. So last year, and in most prior years, the number one thing is growth. If it'll help me grow, I will spend money. But this year, the picture changed noticeably. Growth, as you can see, moved down to third place, while data and innovation emerged as the leading priorities. And in fact, last year, data wasn't even in the top five. And so here it is, number one, without even being something that we saw last year. Now, that does not mean that growth and efficiency are no longer important, because nearly all insurers, 98%, still said growth was a big area of focus in 2026. But what's changing is how they're thinking about achieving it, right? Increasingly, insurers are seeing data as the foundation for growth, innovation, and operational improvement. And so these priorities, they're no longer really separate initiatives. They're deeply interconnected. They're increasingly dependent on each other. So, growth, number one thing that carriers are focusing on. But at the same time, the market environment is changing. Now, this comes from a study of policyholders who had a personal auto claim in the last 2 years. And we picked personal auto because we were looking at the claims experience. And personal auto is kind of homogenous when it comes to claims, as opposed to something like, general liability. Anyway, we found that 25% of those that had a claim loved their carrier so much after the claim that they would pay more to stay. But half of all policyholders with a claim told us that were actively looking for a lower premium elsewhere or had already moved. So policyholders shopping at historically high rates. And in that environment, the goal can't just be how low can you go to keep your customers, right? Or to attract new customers. That approach always creates long-term profitability challenges. So the real question is, what is the right price for this specific customer based on their individual risk profile? Now, when insurers rely on broad rating bands, they increase the likelihood of adverse selection, right? Because the lower risk customers are more likely to leave in search of pricing that more adequately reflects their actual risk, while the higher risk customers are more likely to stay because they're getting a lower price than they should be paid. And this is why pricing precision matters so much right now, like not only for attracting the customers who are actively shopping, but also for retaining the best ones already in your portfolio.